In Dawn, Her Dad, and the Tractor, our next guest stars as a young trans woman returning home to her family after years of estrangement. What unfolds is a story of learning, unlearning, and embracing change in small town Nova Scotia. Take a look.
Hi, help you?
Jesus.
Miranda.
No, Dad. It's me. Dawn.
Oh my God.
Hey, on. Like Dawn, her brother?
No, like Dawn, her sister.
What the film's lead actress Maya V. Henry joins us on the show today. Welcome to the show, Maya.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
Maya, congratulations on the film. Not a lot of people can say that their very first feature film is also their first starring role, but that is the case for you with this film. And I understand that the movie was actually inspired by a true story. So talk about how it was pitched to you and what really drew you in.
Yeah, definitely. So this film is very family oriented. It's taking place after the main character Dawn's transition, and she's reacquainting herself with her family and her community. And so for me, it really drew me in because there's a lot of parallels with my own life and my own transition. And I come from a small community as well. And I think that there aren't enough voices from these small communities sharing these kinds of films.
I'd love to talk to you a bit about the setting for this film, small town Nova Scotia. And we love our Canadian small towns, but this movie shows how there can sometimes be, a little resistance to difference or change. So your character faces this head on when she returns home after transitioning. And having grown up yourself in a small town, did you experience similar challenges?
Definitely. I think that in a small town, there's a mentality where people don't like change or difference. Things are the way they are. And so growing up, being different myself, I always expressed my femininity more outwardly. And that wasn't always accepted. I was bullied throughout school and made not to feel good about myself. And I had to go to a larger community like Toronto, where I am now, and find my queer community and find my voice. So sometimes that's what you need. You need to find your community in order to feel uplifted and to really be your truest self.
I mean, the film is not so much about transitioning as it is about life after transitioning. And that experience isn't something we really see on screen very much. Why is that distinction important for you?
I think it's so important because in mainstream media, we see a lot of sensational topics regarding how trans people look, what surgeries they get. And so showing the humanity behind the trans person's life beyond the transition is so important. And it shows how we are just like everyone else, wanting to be accepted and to be surrounded by people who love and support us. And this film really shows the transition that the family goes through in order to understand Dawn's journey.
Yeah, does it ever. Listen, Rob Wells plays your dad in this film, and most of us love him for his very iconic role as Ricky in the Trailer Park Boys, but we see a totally different side of him here. So what was it like hanging out with Rob on set and also having him as your movie dad?
Yeah, he honestly was amazing. I loved working with him. I was so inspired. He had so much compassion on set and he really wanted to do the best job he could do. He was so dedicated and he's so talented. Everyone has to see this film. He's so different from Trailer Park Boys. You would never expect it. He's such a versatile actor and it was amazing to share screen time with him. Like, I learned so much and I felt like I was trying to absorb as much acting knowledge as I could, it being my first film.
Yeah, it might have been your first feature film debut, but you've been a YouTube star for years now. Your channel chronicles your experience with transitioning and self-discovery, and you now have hundreds of thousands of followers. So it's clear what your viewers gain from this level of vulnerability, but how does it help you?
Yeah, I would say that I started documenting my transition on YouTube as a way to remind myself of where I came from and the journey that I was taking. I think in life, sometimes we are accomplishing so much and we forget to stop and reflect. And so this was a way to kind of, it's like a virtual diary in a way.
Yeah.
And so I look back sometimes and I'm like, oh my goodness, like look where I came from and where I'm going. And it's inspiring to me as well. And if that helps anyone else out there, that's all the better.
Well, clearly it's resonating with a lot of people. And what's great is that you do a lot of questions and answers with your online audience about your personal experience transitioning. And you really are very, very candid. What's the most frequent question that you get from your followers?
I would say the most frequent question that I get is, what is the best part of transitioning? Because there's a lot of people who are scared to take the first steps to being their authentic self, and they want hope. There's so much disparaging information out in the world, and it can be very daunting. And so to hear something positive coming from the community is so important. So sharing my favorite part of transition, which is finding your voice and having other people perceive you in the way that you always felt on the inside.
Now, I'm curious, is there a question that you really wish that they would ask you actually more, or that you feel like really needs to be addressed?
Like regards to being transgender in general, or do you mean towards the
anything
film?
that you've thought to yourself, like, you know what, I wish people would ask me about this. Maybe it's
That's
something
hard.
lighthearted.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess I just always want people to be asking, like, what's next? What's gonna be on the agenda in the future? You know, so that it keeps interest with the content I'm creating, or whether or not it's a film. So yeah, just that kind of direction.
Well, let's stay there, because while we're talking about your social media, we need to give proper attention to your makeup game. How much have you leaned into
Thank
fashion
you.
and beauty during the last couple of pandemic years? And yeah, I'm gonna ask you the question that you wish you could ask more. How do I find the guts to rock eyeshadow like this?
I would say that for me, makeup started off as like a tool in my arsenal of transitioning. It helped me feel more comfortable. It was like my warrior paint going out into the world and expressing myself. So I would say just use it as a form to express how you're feeling in the moment, you know, and then you can start off small and build upon that and start experimenting with fun colors and fun designs. And there's so many amazing makeup artists all around the world. You can find them on Instagram, on TikTok, and my inspiration comes from everywhere. So just keeping that going, and when you're bored at home, you need to find ways to keep yourself entertained, you know.
You're
So
very
taking some
good.
fun photos and glamming up and feeling good about yourself, you know.
Well, this was your first feature role, as we mentioned, but I'm sure it's not going to be your last. And I understand that when you were deciding to get sort of into this industry, you weren't necessarily that optimistic about the types of opportunities you would be able to get. Has that shifted since then? Has your idea shifted?
Definitely. I remember at the end of filming, we had a little cast gathering and crew gathering, and we kind of just celebrated wrapping the film, right? And I gave a little speech at the end, and I said to everyone, I was not able to imagine this outcome for myself when I first started transitioning. I felt like I was sacrificing so much in life to be able to transition. I didn't have a lot of representation of trans actors. So being here now and talking to you guys and being a part of such a wonderful film is such a dream come true for me. And I just want that to inspire other people to know that it can happen for them too, because I had no idea, and I hope that it continues to happen.
I mean, the film is hitting streaming services next week, and there are even talks about it being shown in schools to students down the line. So what do you hope audiences, youth especially, take away from this film?
Yeah, I think I want youth to take away that it's never too late to be your true self, even if you come from a smaller community and you feel like you're not being heard. There is always time for you to grow and to eventually move away if you need to, come back, reconnect, and to have patience with the people in your community and with your family, because I think that time really does heal a lot of wounds. And I think that a lot of people in my own life as well have slowly come to terms with who I am now. And it's taken time, but because I was able to have that patience, I now have these invaluable relationships with people that I loved before my transition as well.
Maya, it's been just fantastic chatting with you today. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.